And welcome to Cottage Grove Planning Commission's meeting for July 22nd, 2024. This time we'll move to roll call. Commissioner Rasmussen.
Commissioner Bott. Commissioner Britton.
Here.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Chair Frazier.
Here.
Commissioner Knable. Here. Commissioner Rasmussen. Here. Commissioner Stevens is out.
All right, thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Unless there are any additions or deletions, I would look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Britton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner
Me, Fisher.
Fisher. I haven't been away too long.
So you can read it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Item 4 is open forum. If there is anyone who'd like to speak on an item that is not on tonight's agenda, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. So at this time, I'll open forum. All right, seeing none, we'll close open forum. Item 5 is Chair's explanation of the hearing process. The Planning Commission is a volunteer advisory group to the City Council. One of the Commission's functions is to hold public hearings and make recommendations on land use and zoning matters. The purpose of these public hearings is to provide an opportunity for each applicant and citizens to present information, ask questions, and express opinions. Since these proceedings are televised and recorded for the public record, anyone wishing to speak must step up to the podium and give their name and address before addressing the Commission. Staff reports are prepared and provided to the applicant and Planning Commission in advance of the meeting. The first step in the hearing will be for staff to present a summary of their report. The applicant will then have the opportunity to briefly explain the proposal and provide additional information or comments. Anyone wanting to speak in favor or against the proposal will then be heard. Upon completion of the testimony, the hearing will be closed to public comment. The Planning Commission will then discuss and act on the matter. 2 complete agenda packets are available for viewing on the back table. Please do not remove those items. The City Council will act on the sole item on the agenda at their meeting on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, which starts at 7 p.m. With that, we'll move to item 6. 6.1 is CPZA PUD PP 2024-015 Preserve at Prairie Dunes with Connor Jakes presenting.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Great to be with you. The 4 applications before this evening are for a proposed residential subdivision that's currently referred to as the Preserve at Prairie Dunes. The 4 applications before you are a comprehensive plan amendment, a zoning amendment, a preliminary plat, and a planned unit development. The subject site is located just south of the major industrial area of the city, more specifically south of the current North Point development parcel. East of the site is Lennar's Greymont Village, which is currently under construction. That's 45-foot lots. And to the west of the subject site is the Minnesota DNR's Scientific and Natural Area, or SNA. The existing site is approximately 60 acres in size. Currently on site are tilled fields with vegetated windbreaks. Topography is relatively flat with minimal grade change. And then just to note, as part of the North Point development, North Point was required to construct 105th Street South, and then that roundabout, which is on the eastern side of the parcel, where Hadley Avenue will connect and is under construction currently. Before we jump into the applications before you, I thought it'd be beneficial to walk through the background of the site. Many of the commissioners, you'll recall back in 2022, Summergate Development was before you with a preliminary plat that was relatively very similar. That preliminary plat consisted of approximately 100 acres, including that parcel in the northwest, which is the Civic 40 parcel, as we refer to it. In that parcel, there was 4 outlots that were proposed, given the realignment of Hadley Avenue and 100th Street South. And then the developer at the time was proposing 161 lots for single-family development. The northern portion of that project was proposed at 50 to 55-foot lot widths, and then the southern part at 65-foot lot widths. And then just to note, the application before you is very similar. The 2 changes are the northern part of the residential subdivision area is proposed at 45-foot lot width instead of the 50 to 55. And then at the time, Summergate proposed the trail to run about halfway up that western property boundary. The applicant before you is proposing to run that along the entire western property boundary. After Summergate Development received their preliminary plat approvals from the council, they did end up walking away from the project just due to various market conditions. However, if you recall at the time, Norhart Architecture was going through the approval process for that eastern parcel of the Civic 40. And so in order for them to move forward with their project, we're required to complete the final plat. And so Norhart did complete that final plat, which platted the Civic 40 parcel, dedicated the right-of-way to the city for the realignment of Hadley and 100th Street, and then created that southern lot, the triangle parcel, that's a subject site this evening as a future outlot for residential development, which is the applications before you this evening. So the applicant has submitted a comprehensive plan amendment. The subject site is currently guided a mixture of medium-density residential, low-density residential, and industrial. The applicant's proposing to re-guide the northern portion of the site to low-density residential in order to align with the proposed density on site. Proposed density is at 3 units per acre, and the low-density residential land use allows for 2 to 4 units per acre, so right in the middle of that low-density residential. And from a staff perspective, staff is supportive of the request, given the industrial and medium-density land uses on that northern site really limit the how developable that parcel is and the site as a whole. So shifting that to low density and making that more of a developable site as a whole. The applicant's also proposing a zoning amendment to rezone the parcel from AG2 agricultural to R4 transitional residential with a planned unit development. Again, the R4 district is the transitional district where we have smaller lot widths closer to our collector streets, and then moving away from it allows for that flexibility to have larger lot sizes as well. So fits well with the collector roadways that are adjacent. Another aspect of the site is the Mississippi River Corridor Critical Area, or the MRCA. The southernmost section of the subject site is within the MRCA, more specifically the SR, or Separated from River District. This district would and could allow for development. However, the applicant has proposed a stormwater pond and a recreational trail within that MRCA overlay area on the southern tip of that site. So the preliminary plat before you this evening is to plat 162 lots for single-family housing. Lot widths, again, range from 45 feet to 65 feet in lot width. The 45 feet in lot width is very similar and actually the same as our recently approved Settlers Bluff development and then Graymont Village, which are both in the immediate area. So very similar there. And the applicant's also proposing a PUD, or planned unit development, to reduce the side yard setback of the 45-foot lots from 7.5 feet to 5 feet. And these standards do align with Settlers Bluff and Graymont Village and fall in line with those. And then that's the only flexibility the applicant is requesting. So all other 65-foot lots would meet the R4 zoning district standards. Access to the site is provided from that 105th Street and Hadley Avenue roundabout, as well as Hadley Avenue coming south with the realignment. That the South District Street and Utility Project is currently underway, which is that realignment and construction of Hadley and 100th. Utilities were extended via 105th Street and with those improvements from North Point Development. In terms of pedestrian connectivity, the applicant is proposing an internal sidewalk system of 5-foot sidewalks on one side of each street. The applicant's also proposing a transportation trail along Hadley Avenue, which is shown in orange on screen, and a recreation trail along the west edge of the property, which is shown in green on screen before you. And all the proposed trails are consistent with the 2040 comprehensive plan. Given there are a number of mature qualifying trees on site, the applicant is required to follow the tree mitigation ordinance. So the applicant has submitted a detailed tree inventory and tree preservation plan. The numbers and details are on screen before you, but just to note, the applicant is required to mitigate 53.25 inches that are on site. The applicant can complete that through replacement on site of additional tree plantings or a cash in lieu of fee. The method that's utilized will be memorialized in the development agreement with the final plat. The applicant has also submitted a detailed landscape plan that meets and exceeds all requirements of the landscaping ordinance. Just to note, the lot trees do differ based on the lot widths, so code requires 2 per lot, 2 trees per lot for 60-foot and less lot width, and 3 per lot for 60-foot lots and wider. And then just one other thing to note, the applicant is proposing additional plantings adjacent to the roundabout just to provide additional screening from transportation. Before the recommendations on screen, there is an amended condition of approval before you this evening. Condition number 13 in your packets, which is on page 17. 13A currently states the minimum attached garage floor area for dwellings shall be 440 square feet. Staff is requesting that that's amended to remove that requirement, given the 45-foot lot width and the product that's proposed. And this condition would then align with Graymont Village, Settlers Bluff, and the other 45-foot lot width projects that have been previously approved. With that, the recommendation is on screen, but I'll invite up the applicant to give a brief overview of the project and detail on the proposed housing product.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, thank you. If the applicant would like to step to the podium.
All right, thank you everyone tonight. My name is Haley Daly. I work with Pulte Homes, obviously, and I'm the manager of land planning and entitlement. Also here today is Dean Lauder. He's our director of land planning and entitlement as well. As staff has said, I just wanted to give a brief overview of some of the homes we're building, give some more details on that. So the agenda should be pretty quick, just go over a quick overview of who Pulte is, our approach to this site, as well as our proposed homes. So briefly, we sell to all different types of people in the area. We started in 1950. This is a current map of our homes, our neighborhoods in the Twin Cities area that we currently build in. We're a national home builder in the United States. We focus on consumer-driven designs, and what that really means is we're just very survey-focused, and we're always reaching out to consumers who've bought in the past, potential consumers, to build homes and design homes that work best for the market conditions. And in the Twin Cities, we sell homes under two brands, Pulte Homes and Del Webb. This proposed neighborhood would be a Pulte Homes neighborhood. And so for our site approach, as staff mentioned, it was relatively similar to the previous proposal. This is just more of a zoomed in view of the northern portion, which is mainly composed of 45-foot lots with some 65-foot lots. And then the southern portion of the site would be 65-foot lots. So to talk more about our homes on the 45-foot lots, we would offer 5 floor plans with multiple elevations. They vary in square footage from just under 1,600 to under 2,200 square feet. There are 2 to 4 bedrooms offered, as well as 2 to 2.5 baths. We offer 2-stall garages, as well as this different elevations with homes that can be 1 or 2 stories. So these are just a few renderings of homes we built. The bottom left one is an actual house that we have built in the Twin Cities. As you can see, there's multiple different types of front-facing elevations, so it creates a really diverse community. And not all of the plan elevations we have are shown on this slide because we have multiple ones per plan. We offer a unique color package system, so there's multiple different types of colors that a homeowner can choose and pick for their homes, as well as the inside of the homes. We have tall ceilings, upgraded countertops and cabinets, and so a variety of features that homeowners can customize to their liking during the sale process. And then to talk a little bit more about our 65-foot homes, we offer 6 different floor plans with multiple elevations. These ones are geared towards more of a move-up buyer, so the square footage is a little bit larger, just under 2,400 square feet and just under 3,300 square feet. This one also does not include the basement square footage, so if there is a basement, it will be a little bit larger as well. There's 3 to 4 bedrooms offered, as well as 2 to 2.5 baths. Our 65-foot homes would offer a 3rd stall garage, and this product does come in 1 or 2 stories as well. And again, here are just some different renderings of our proposed homes. There's stone offered on this one as well. There's different types of siding, accent siding, louvers, dormers, all types of different architectural features that make each home feel unique. And then again, with the inside of the home, it's just large open spaces, high ceilings, beautiful countertops, really focused on what the consumer would want in this area. So lastly, again, as discussed, we're proposing 162 homes. We have multiple product types and different elevations, different color packages, and we want to create a diverse community for everyone. We also would want to provide high quality and aesthetically pleasing homes for everyone as well. And that's all I really have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Rasmussen.
I've got two quick questions. Do the 45-foot lots, homes, do they have basements or are they slab on grade?
Currently, we are planning to build those slab on grade in order to hit the price point for this market.
All right, thank you. Second question, I think was answered by your last slide. I just wanted to confirm on the 65-foot lot widths that your roads line up with the development. I think it's Graymont Village that's under construction. That's,
Correct.
I think I see that on your drawing now, so it looks good.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Commissioner Fisher.
Hi, so will you build spec homes and then sell them, or will you sell them to individual people and then build as you sell?
Currently, Pulte does a mix of both. There are some spec homes, and then there's also some that are just based off a consumer.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I do have one question for you. Maybe you can go back to the slide where you had the zoomed up picture of the northern half of the, okay. So it was my understanding from the packet that the entire northern part was gonna be 45 lots, but it looks like the western edge that kind of leads down to the southern edge of that northern half, are those all 65 actually?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the more orange ones are the 45s, and then the kind of tan yellow are the 65s as well.
All right, so the 45 foot width lots are gonna be kind of just to the northeast corner of that northern portion.
That is correct.
Understood. Thank you. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, we will open the public hearing on the application. If there's anyone who's wishing to speak for or against the application, please step to the podium.
Yeah, I wish that, a copy of that plan would have been in with the meeting materials. So maybe I can get a copy of that at some point. Okay, sorry, yeah, I'm Bonnie Matter, 6649 Inskip Avenue South, Cottage Grove, Minnesota, thanks. And, I just have a few questions. First of all, and I think I know the answer to it, it's just, as I read through the materials, I was confused. There was the diagram of the, low, the housing, whether residential housing, low, medium, high, okay? And then there was another diagram on another page that was actually the zoning. And the color for the medium residential was the same color as the zoning. So if that could be, maybe a different color could be made for one, because I know it's all low density, correct? Correct?
Well, I think I recall from the presentation that right now it's AG2 is the zoning, so it's agricultural right now zoned, but the comp plan is a mix of different uses at this point. So that's one of the applications is to amend the comp plan, and then there's another application to amend the zoning to come into conformance with the comp plan.
Okay, but it would be low density.
That is, I believe, the application. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand that correctly, because there was a meeting in 2022, and it got bounced back because the request was for low and medium was not acceptable to the Met Council. And so I just want to make sure I understand that. That's
Yes.
number one. Okay, number two, I talked about the land use and the versus proposed zoning color designations. Are there wetlands on the property? Where is the stormwater ponding located? And is that a wetland or is that new stormwater? There's a recreational trail on the west bordering the Gray Cloud Scientific and Natural Area. What type of buffer area is planned between the property and the SNA? How will runoff be kept out of the SNA? When grading, how will runoff be kept out of the SNA? Can the trail be made from a permeable paving material versus bituminous? Who educates the homeowners about proper use of an SNA, any SNA? Who keeps the dog poop, the lawn refuse, and other garbage away from and out of the SNA? What's the plan? And please provide the DNR contact notified with the current plans on June 17, 2024. Pulte is requesting a planned unit development. The city recently just changed the zoning on the R4 to 45 feet. The objective was to eliminate the PUDs, but now Pulte is back for another PUD. What is Pulte providing the city for this planned use development? Let's see, tree preservation plan. Calipers mean nothing to me. I'd like to know how many trees are actually being removed. Please submit the plans for this development to the appropriate representatives for review. And that means like the Mississippi River Corridor Critical Area. This is a very special area in this city. And also to the Gray Cloud Dune Scientific and Natural Area Department of Natural Resources representative. And then I'd like to know what happens following this meeting. Those are my questions. You want me to go through them again, or?
Nope, I think we got them all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the proposal? All right, seeing none, we'll close public hearing then on the application. I don't know who'd like to start with responding.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, just to run through the comments provided by the public. To begin with, comp plan and zoning, that is correct. There are very similar colors. Just to clear things up, the land use chapter of the comprehensive plan is what guides development and guides density. And that's kind of your most broad overlay. And then within that, you have the zoning district standards. So two separate kind of overlays with similar colors. The medium density on screen is represented by the orange color. And then separately within the zoning district standards, the R4 is represented by orange as well. So just differ kind of in the overlays of that. And then just to talk through, the previous proposal did, by Summergate Development, did propose that northern section to be medium density. However, per comments from the Metropolitan Council, they did recommend low density based on the density of the project previously, and the proposed density before this evening being at 3 units per acre, so that does align better with the low density residential. That's why the application before you is low density and not medium density. So staff has been in contact with the Metropolitan Council on this application as well, and they were in agreement that low density was still the preferred guiding of that northern part of the site. To touch on stormwater ponding, there are currently no wetlands on site. The stormwater ponds are proposed to be created with the development. Stormwater ponds, there's 4 of them located, one in the southernmost section that's within the Merca Overlay District. And there's one along the west property boundary, and then 2 separate ones with the dry pond on the north and wet pond to the south of that. So 4 total stormwater ponds, no wetlands on site, and those stormwater ponds would be created and graded with the development. Along the west part of the site is the proposed recreational trail. That outlot, I don't know the specific width on that, but that does provide the buffer that the DNR requested, and the burn break area that the DNR requested in their comment letter. Previously in 2022, the comments included really 2 major things, which was the preservation of mature trees along the western property boundary adjacent to the SNA, and then adding and providing a trail along the western property boundary to act as a burn break. So the applicant has attempted to mitigate those concerns through the preservation of trees along the majority of the western property boundary, and then again that trail extending along the entire western property boundary, when the previous application only had it about halfway along that western property boundary. In terms of runoff to the SNA, the applicant is required to have all water mitigated on site through their stormwater ponding and stormwater plan. In terms of notifying and working with residents on the SNA area and how that is to be treated, we'd work with the developer on that when new residents move in, and giving them the information to make them aware of the SNA, what it's meant to be, and then also communicate with the DNR on that as well. And all work together to ensure that residents are aware of that land and how that should be treated. The DNR was provided with a letter and a plan set for comment. No comments are received at this time from the DNR. In terms of tree preservation, 53.25 inches converts to about 11 additional trees that would be required if the applicant was proposing, or does choose to utilize the replacement method on site instead of the cash fee, which I believe they're intending to do at this point. So planting those 11 additional trees. After this meeting, the August 21st City Council meeting is where this application would be heard before the City Council, or the 4 applications. And then just to talk through the plan unit development proposal. As part of the annual zoning code updates, which was recently before you in May, the lot width within the R4 district was reduced to 45 feet to minimize any PUD requests. However, the side yard setback was still kept at 7.5 feet, realizing that there's a variation of lot widths. So staff did not necessarily want to require or allow for 65-foot lot widths to be closer to the property line than 12.5 feet separation between the 2 houses. So keeping that 7.5 feet keeps your 12.5-foot setback on your 65-foot lots, and then in turn requires an applicant to request a PUD to reduce that for your 45-foot lot widths, and then require that extra application. So really trying to balance the range of lot widths within that transitional zoning district is part of that zoning district. I believe that was all the questions.
Okay. I just have a couple that I wanted to clean up with you, Connor. The rec trail, do we know what the proposal is for that being? What is the makeup of that gonna be? Is it gonna be like a paved trail? Is it gonna be like a crushed rock, or?
Yeah, right now I believe Commissioner Frazier, Chair, it's proposed to be a paved trail along that western property boundary, similar to our other recreation trails throughout the city.
Okay, and it sounded like from what you were saying, that DNR had kind of asked for that plan as well, because A, for it to be a trail, but B, because it then represents a fire break, just to make sure that their fire doesn't spread from the SNA to the houses or vice versa, right?
Yep, yeah, that's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and then the other thing I just wanted to check, we did talk about caliber inches. I know you said that the amount of inches that they're gonna have to recoup on property is about 11 feet or 11 trees. But the reason why we talk about caliper inches is because the city ordinance is written in caliper inches, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Okay, thank you. At this time, any discussion by commission on the application? Okay, seeing none, I would.
I'll just say one thing.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's nice that, because we've seen a plan come through before on this property, and Bonnie had mentioned about the low density versus the medium density. So it's nice to see one that will work, that's lower density than what we saw before. And it's nice to take in, what the Met Council says and then bring back a new plan that covers all those bases. So I like that.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say.
Any additional comments, discussion? Okay. With that, then I would look for a motion.
I'll motion to approve per staff report.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application, subject to conditions in the staff report by Commissioner Rasmussen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Fisher. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Item 7 is approval of the minutes. Unless there are any additions or corrections, I'd look for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 20th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Britton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8 is reports. 8.1 is recap of June and July city council meetings with Emily Schmitz.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. It's been a couple of months since we've been here, so I'm going all the way back to June 5th. So we'll work through the June meetings as well as the only meeting, the council meeting that was in July. So back to June 5th, I just wanted to highlight Real Estate Equities received council support to apply for some bonding through the state for an affordable project that they're hopeful to work on the Civic 40, actually, a parcel that they're interested in. They did not secure any funding for 2024. However, they are on the wait list, so we anticipate hopefully some funding in that project to move forward in 2025. We also were able to get a match for our housing market study through Washington County Community Development Agency, or the CDA. So they're matching that cost for that market study, which is well underway this year. I would say we're about halfway done, so we're hopeful near the end of the summer that we'll have a final market study product. And then finally, on that June 5th, Enterprise Energy, the community solar garden that was before you back in May, did receive its approvals at the city council at that meeting. Jumping ahead to June 26th, we did enter into agreement, I should have mentioned this, for that housing market study, the market study and the small area plan at Keats and Innovation. So we're working with Stantec as the consultant who's going to work through kind of evaluating the area, what is the market supporting at Innovation, and well, it will be 100th as that project hopefully continues in the coming years. So creating a very long-term range vision for that area. So we'll work through that through the remainder of 2024. Completed project, I would say, at the end of this year. At that meeting, council also approved the final phase of the Hawthorne Pines development that's at 65th, kind of up in that northwest corner of the city. So those final 48 lots were approved at that meeting as well. And then finally, July 17th, the two items that I wanted to note, there was an easement vacation at Oltman Middle School, who is looking to work through their a classroom addition as well as a cafeteria addition, not until 2025, but they do have to relocate a water main as a part of that project, and so we vacated that easement in anticipation of that project. That addition was approved as a part of their original approvals, I believe in 2017 when they were constructing the school. So it won't be an official application before you, so I wanted to just make you aware that that activity will be happening. And then finally, Summer Valley. Some more easement vacations, but Summer Valley is that final piece of the puzzle there up by Parkview Point, Rolling Meadows, that development area. So those 71 lots will kind of complete that area. They're grading away currently. Grading should continue probably through middle of August, and then I would anticipate we might see some streets and things like that kind of forming and shaping out there. But that is the update that I have for you this evening. However, Councilmember Kambata, of course, is here if he has anything to add or you have questions for him.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Kambata.
Again, I just, as always, want to thank you guys for your dedication and time, and make myself available for any questions you have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Councilmember? Commissioner Rasmussen.
Quick question on 70th Street, kind of east of Keats, there's that big utility-looking project going on. I can't figure out what's going on there. Do you have any updates or clues?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Rasmussen, you're not the first one, and I actually had to drive out there to see this for myself. It's quite fascinating. I don't know the details of exactly what is happening, but Northern Natural Gas does have a substation just on the north side of 70th there across the way. Some new pipe work happening, which my understanding, they need a lot of water as they navigate whatever this project is. The details of it, again, I don't know, but so that's what's happening there, a staging area for a large amount of water to help with their new piping that they are putting in.
It's interesting. They almost have like a little mini water tower built or something.
Yep. Swimming pool, if you might. In Minnesota, it makes sense, I guess.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Emily or Councilmember Kambata? Seeing none. All right. We'll move on to 8.2, response to Planning Commission inquiries. I don't think we had any from the last meeting. I was trying to just go to the back of the packet here to see if there was one.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, we did add a response. We had some additional questions related to kind of this community solar process or existing projects that are out there. I'm hopeful that that memo kind of covered a little bit more detail that we were able to dig up as it relates to some of those additional questions. But of course, we can certainly add some clarification if needed at this point.
Okay, yep. Page 82 of the packet. Okay. All right. So that one was resolved, Commissioner Kambata, or Councilmember Kambata.
I actually do have a few more comments that just kind of came back to me here, so before we exit, I did want to say, since May, the city dealt with some pretty severe flooding. I think it's the eighth highest crest that's been recorded on a Mississippi. And because this is planning commission and we deal with infrastructure, I thought it might be a good idea to just tell you that our emergency management plan was utilized. Our public works executed that plan very well. Two key pieces of infrastructure were at most risk, which were the causeway going onto Gray Cloud Island and the steel trellis bridge going onto Gray Cloud Island as well. During that time, it was being monitored multiple times a day, and we had emergency management protocols in place in order to evacuate somebody should there be a medical emergency on the island. And just to really want to applaud our staff on being forward-thinking on that. And thankfully, the water crested before it did any permanent damage to either of those structures. They were both inspected, and they're back in service.
All right. Thank you for that update. 8.3 then is Planning Commission requests. Do we have any requests for staff at this meeting? Seeing none. We'll move on to item 9, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from Commissioner Rasmussen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Britton. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned.